Hey YouTube, it's Lily. I'm here in the studio test kitchen today, and we are going to make some Blue Apron East Asian style aromatics. Whenever I tell someone I work at Blue Apron, one of the first things they say to me is, what's in your aromatics? And so today we are cracking the code. I'm gonna teach you how to make these for yourself. You'll get these in your box in a lot of our noodle stir-fry dishes, anything where we're sort of stir-frying a vegetable in a pan. This is a really quick way to build flavor. This is actually a fun story. We got these custom made for us because making them, as you will see, requires a lot of chopping. So this is a way to cut 10, 15, 20 minutes of prep work off your meal. This is super simple. It's just ginger garlic scallion, which is gonna be a trifecta of flavors. That's a really good base flavor for a lot of dishes you're gonna make, like noodle stir fries. The easiest thing to do is to just chop everything up. If you have a food processor, you can kind of just blitz this all together, but because that's not fun to see, we're gonna chop it all together. I'm gonna use the greens and the whites of the scallions, but I'm gonna save a little bit of the top just for a little bit of garnish for my dish. We don't need a lot to do this. We just need our knife and a peeler to peel our ginger, and we're just gonna chop. We're just gonna take these little scraggly bottoms off and chop. We just want to chop everything in like the sort of style of size that we want to eat. We're going to run a knife through this so it doesn't have to be super even. The white bits are going to be a little more oniony. The green bits are going to be a little bit more mellow, which is why people usually use them for garnish. But I want some sharp onion and some mellow green top. This is a bench scraper. This is a really good scooping tool when you have piles of things. I'm gonna save these for my little garnish. My little aspirational garnish scallions over here. You don't need a super specific recipe for this. You're just gonna do equal parts ginger, scallion to a third garlic. More if you like more. I'm gonna do about a cup of scallion, a cup of ginger, and a third of a cup of garlic to a cup of oil. And we're just gonna sweat that all out together. I'm making a ton of this. This will save in your fridge forever. You can always just add a scoop to start any dish. If you wanna make just one serving of it, take it down to like a tablespoon of each thing. So what we're gonna do is try to make as clean of a surface as possible by just sort of peeling these off into the flattest bits possible. You really wanna get all of this skin off though. It's tough, it's bitter. It doesn't really cook in your food. Everything in this is going to be real bitter until it's cooked, and then it's gonna get really sweet. This is a lot of ginger. I am aware this is a lot of ginger, and this is also a lot of scrap ginger. What I like to do is keep a bag of vegetable scraps in my freezer, and then I make stock out of it, and you can just throw the ginger in there, and then you also have a little bit of ginger flavor in your stock. If you wanna learn how to do that, check out the links. I'll leave you a recipe. I wanna make a perfect flat surface so I can make little tiny cubes. I want pieces. I want pieces of scallion, I want pieces of ginger, and I'm gonna want pieces of garlic. I want it to taste like there were raw ingredients in the base of my stir fry. So the easiest way to do this is to just create small planks. It's gonna be a lot of chopping, buckle up. And then smaller planks. You're just gonna run it through and make these tiny little baby cubes. Again, this is like a really, really good place to invest in one of those little mini food processors. If we were at a different time in our lives, we would try to impress you with how fast we could chop this, but I want all my fingers for the rest of the day. All right, we got a pile of ginger. Who's ready for garlic? I'm gonna start with, this is kind of a lot of scallion and ginger. I'm gonna put like a whole head in here. I'm just gonna sort of roughly peel them apart. And what is the best trick in the book is just to give it a smash, take it out of its little house, and we'll just run a knife through it. This is, again, rustico. And we're just gonna do this with every dang clove. Best practice here, you wanna take this hearty little nub off the end, and then we are going to simply run the knife through. You can have uneven pieces here. The garlic is mostly gonna cook down and just become one with the oil. This is a good place to stop. It's about the same size as everything else. Some pieces are smaller than others. All right, we're gonna put this in the bowl, all my other items. You can kind of see the ratio. We got about 3 to 1. We're ready to cook. I just need a pan and some neutral oil. Thank you, Magic Hands. This is a neutral oil. This is just a vegetable oil. You can use a vegetable, a canola, a safflower. You could use olive oil if you have it. Something that cooks to a high temp is going to be your best bet here. We're gonna do this from cold. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this all in the pan together and bring it up to just a low simmer. We are not frying this, we're just sweating it out, and that's what's gonna give us that sweet flavor that we're craving here. Here we go. I'm gonna go real low, like low. You'll know that this is getting too hot if you start to see any brown. We don't want any color on this. We just wanna see this start to get translucent. It's gonna smell really good. Everyone's gonna walk into your house and be like, wow, what are you making? That smells so good. This is the What Smells Good starter pack. Like everything we cook here, we're gonna season it with salt and pepper. If you see colors changing, it's getting too golden, just go ahead and turn the heat down, give it a stir, disperse some of that heat around. This is probably gonna take like 7-10 minutes. This is slow and low. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Keep stirring it around in case we're getting hot spots, but by and large, you can sort of just let this do its thing. My aromatics are all sweated out. The garlic and the scallion has gotten pretty much totally translucent. I tasted it, it's very sweet and delicious, so I am going to pull this. I'm only gonna use some of it for this and save the rest. Be careful with hot oil. Always make sure your bowls are heat proof, people. We're gonna use just what we want out of this bowl as a flavor base of a noodle stir fry, which we're gonna start prepping now. We're gonna use bok choy, mushrooms. We're gonna make a sweet spicy sauce. We have some soft-boiled eggs to top it with, which is a nice way to make something a little lighter feel like lunch or dinner. The flavor base that we just use is what's gonna build all the flavor in the bottom here. It's gonna be super tasty and really fast. To start this dish, we're gonna chop our vegetables real quick. We have bok choy. Best way to prep this, you're just gonna cut the bottoms off, and then we're just gonna run a knife through these into thin strip, bite-sized pieces. If your bok choy comes in a little bit dirty, just go ahead and soak it in a bowl of cold water. So we're just gonna throw this in our bowl. Opposite thing with cleaning mushrooms, you just wanna wipe them with a paper towel. You don't wanna soak them, you don't wanna wash them in water, you definitely don't wanna wash them in soap. And you gotta wait to give them salt because mushrooms are like, they're just this little precious cloud. You can't treat them like any other vegetable. They just require some special love. So these are gonna go in here, and my vegetables are prepped. See how fast that was? All right, we're gonna make the sauce. This is soy glaze. We've met her before. She is a cooked down soy product. So we have soy glaze, we have hoisin. This is gonna give us sweet caramelized flavors. We have sambal, chili paste, rice vinegar. That's gonna give you a little bit of acid. This is a little bit of mirin for a little bit of sweetness. And this is water, which is just gonna loosen the sauce up. This might look familiar. See our glazes episode. And just give this a stir to combine. So now we have vegetables, we have sauce. We're gonna peel our eggs. I like to just give it a little smash all the way around. You wanna get under this little membrane, and once you do that, it should just peel right off. Best thing to do is just run them under cold water. If you lose a little bit of egg, you're gonna live. I play you get what you get with eggs, you know? We're gonna have these for a bright little sunny side treat when we plate our dish. Cute. All right, should we make a noodle dish? Instead of using olive oil or sesame oil to start, I'm just gonna use some of this oil that we already made. I'm just gonna spoon, I don't know, like a tablespoon in. This pan has some of the bits from our aromatic making, which is fine. So I'm just gonna let that get hot on medium high. And our first step is that we're gonna brown the mushrooms. You wanna brown your mushrooms first. If you put it in the pan with something else, they're gonna release water and it's gonna steam and you're gonna get that rubbery flavor that makes people think they don't like mushrooms. You don't wanna crowd the pan though. So if you have more than fits in the bottom of your pan, do it in batches. I can see that this is getting hot. I'm gonna go ahead and add my mushrooms. I'm gonna give them a little shimmy, make sure they're coated in my oil. We're gonna do 3 to 4 minutes on these until they're browned. When they're browned, they release their water. We're gonna give them a little seasoning. Then we're gonna add the bok choy. This is gonna come together super fast. Now that our mushrooms are brown, we add our bok choy. And I'm gonna add about 3 tablespoons of our aromatics. This is art, not a science, so about that much. Don't forget to season, salt, pepper. We're just wilting our greens. We're getting everything ready to add our sauce. We're just cooking vegetables in a pan. That's what's happening. If you haven't had bok choy before, this is a tender green. The stems are gonna stay a little crunchy. This is softer than something like kale. So you really only need like, I don't know, 2-3 minutes on this. When the greens have started to wilt, that's when I'm gonna add my sauce and finish this dish off. And sauce goes in. I'm gonna let that go for about a minute, and then I'm gonna add my noodles. These are ramen noodles. These are the Blue Apron Sun ramen noodles. These have a really nice bounce and chew. Shout out to our friends at Sun. So vegetable sauce, saucing, noodles go in. And this is kind of like finishing a pasta dish. You just want it to be coated and glossy. Make sure every noodle gets a little bit of all the zhuzh, which is the technical term for anything that tastes good. We're not cooking this down into a glaze. We just want this sauce to coat our noodles. When they're shiny and fully coated, you are done. The noodles are gonna continue to absorb some of the sauce too, so if it looks a little wet, don't worry about it. Let's plate. Just divide evenly, or give yourself more, but don't tell anyone, which is what I do when I'm eating pasta. And do a little swirl. Top it with your beautiful saucy vegetables. This is going to get garnished with my soft-boiled egg, my scallion tops from earlier, and a little bit of furikake, which is a spicy seaweed topping that makes this kind of earthy and oceany. Magic hands, you want some? All right. This came together in like 5 minutes. That's very good. This has like the flavor of something that took me all day to make, but it takes like 10 minutes. Obviously, we have a lot of aromatics left over. This was an upfront investment that's gonna serve us for everything we make down the line. You can save this, make sure you keep it in your fridge, just covered and sealed. So you can put this in rice, in stir fries, in curries, in your breakfast omelet. Anything that you want like a flavor punch in, throw it in there. You can also use this as a condiment. You don't have to use it as a flavor base. So that's it. That's how you make this pack of East Asian style aromatics. Now you know. Show me what you make. I'm dying to know. Share the secret far and wide. I'll see you guys soon.